1, 2, cafe. Cafe anyway.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
Hey, actually daily lately. This is amazing. It's Mike Matthews with Mike's Daily Podcast, episode. Mike's Daily Podcast. 2,452, 2452. Hey, how are you? How's then this year? This year, 2032, 2023, I mean. That's right. I got a little bit ahead of myself. Okay, all right. Let's see. So we're going to have Mike's Daily Podcast. Some interesting stories. Stories. Mike's Stories. Daily. We're going to get into that. Podcast. It's going to be exciting. Yeah. And we're going to cover, we're going to see the podcast players, the Cafe Anyway characters. They're going to stop by too. So that's exciting as well. I hope you enjoy all of these things that I'm saying to you. And we'll get all to that in a moment. Okay. I'm going to tell you right now that I drove past Eric Swalwell and I didn't even realize. He was in Podcastro Valley, actually in the little area on A Street that connects the part of Hayward with Podcastro Valley. And a creek there became a river, a roaring river, and tore out a bunch of dirt that caused the street to collapse and the road to disappear and fall into the river, what used to be a creek. So he was there today. I drove right past him. I didn't even see him. But then later I was like, I think that was Eric Swalwell because I heard him on the news. And he was basically saying how all of this destruction that happened, we're going to need money and blah, blah, blah. Give us money. Oh, great federal government. Oh, great state government. Somebody give us money over here because we need it.
And here's today's podcast picture.
Because it adds about 20 minutes to my commute because I got to drive up B Street instead of A Street. And B Street is very, very slow. No matter what time of day, it seems like it's always very slow. One time I drove down B Street at about 5 in the morning. And I'm driving along and I almost hit a deer. And then another time I'm driving down B Street and I see that there's all these cars parked on the side of the road. Somebody had sideswiped about 6 of them, just had plowed and knocked a bunch of them for whatever reason, I don't know. Cafe, I don't know. Cafe anyway, Mike Matthews with the wonderful Basil the Boxer. The late great Basil the Boxer. Boxers are great dogs. But I love all dogs. I would have a dog now, but I have a cat at the moment. All right. Well, I don't think it's a moment thing. I think he's with me for the rest of his life. Rocky, whom I posted pictures of. And I don't really know what... Oh. Did I mention the disaster that happened in the general vicinity of where I live in Podcastro Valley? Perhaps you saw it on the news. A eucalyptus tree with the wind. This is not a picture of that, although I did take a picture of it, but I'm not going to post that. But a eucalyptus tree fell over, basically split a house in two, destroyed the car that was parked in front of their house, although their Tesla was saved. I find Teslas annoying in every possible way. They cause power outages. Actually, they probably cause more power outages than eucalyptus trees falling over. But they're too high off the ground, and if you're in a smaller car like I am, I can't see around them. And they slam their brakes, and I don't know if they're slamming their brakes because there's somebody that slammed their brakes in front of them because I can't see the person in front of them. Or I don't know if somebody is in the middle of the road or something else, some kind of other obstruction, because I can't see around them. So Mike, get a bigger car. I don't want to. I don't know why Tesla's got to be so annoying. And then they just did the drivers of Teslas. And then in LA, there was some Richie Rich that was complaining about where they had to park their car to get charged. There were a lot of homeless people around there. And why can't we do something about that? Because they're looking at my Tesla. I'm just going to charge my car at home. All that wonderful stuff. But Eric Swalwell, hopefully Eric Swalwell will get the dang money to fix that dang street. And then we'll all be happy in Podcastro Valley. And the podcast picture will be from something in Podcastro Valley. Maybe. Or maybe I just might feature something from Half Moon Bay, where I hear there is also a sinkhole now in Half Moon Bay. In that little stretch there on 92 before you get to the ocean. But once you're coming down the hill from is it Skyline Drive up there at the top? There's some kind of sinkhole around there. Ugh. And then, the big news, Lisa Marie Presley died. That shocks me. We're the same age. What happened, I don't know. It is early information. I do know she was rushed to the hospital. Earlier in the day, I saw that report. But that's not... Poor Priscilla. Priscilla had to make that announcement. And the only child of Elvis is gone. That we know of. But the thing is, it's so sad. She had an interesting life, though. Michael Jackson's wife for a little bit. She was married to Nicolas Cage. I forgot about that. And as we go outside a cafe anyway, we're bringing Mike's Daily Podcast somewhere in Podcastro Valley, the last place on earth.
Anyway.
Her son, that's right, her son Benjamin died in 2020 at the age of 27 in Calabasas. And that was suicide. He shot himself. Wow. So, there's probably a lot more there. Apparently, she and her family lived in San Francisco. And between 2010 and 2016, they lived in a 15th century manor house in East Sussex, England. Huh. And she had twins that weighed 5 pounds, 2 ounces. Her husband was a first-time father. That was the Michael Lockwood. And Danny Kyow was the bass player in her band. And they became closer after Presley divorced Michael Jackson. So I think she had kids with Danny. Anyway, there you go. But in another interesting piece of news, maybe something a little bit happier, stocks did go up today. And also, prices in San Francisco declined in the San Francisco area by 0.3%. Hey, it's not much, but we'll take it over the past 2 months. While up by almost 5% over the last 12 months. Oh, well. The latest 2-month decrease was influenced by lower gas prices. Food prices rose about almost 1% over the past 2 months and 10% over the year. Nationally, prices rose 6.5% over the past year. So there's that bit of knowledge, and also that there is a probe going on by Mike Gallagher, the representative. The incoming chairman of the new House's Tough on China committee is putting big tech, Disney, and NBA executives on notice as the panel prepares a probe into the Chinese Communist Party's growing influence within the U.S. Mike Gallagher, who will oversee the House Select Committee on Strategic Competition between the U.S. and Chinese Communist Party. A lot of Democrats ultimately came down in favor. They expressed recognition of the threat posed by the Chinese Communist Party, particularly the economic component of the threat is what Democrats tend to get motivated by. And that was Hugh Hewitt said that, a conservative talk show host. The Washington Examiner said Gallagher wants to use the panel to uncover how the Chinese Communist Party uses access to the country's consumer markets to influence American corporations. Gallagher also said he wants the select committee to help the U.S. fortify itself against Chinese espionage efforts on American soil. Outside a cafe anyway, somewhere in Podcaster Valley, the last place on earth, look who's here. Hello, my commercials, Madame Rootabega und Vortau. Crazy news day. Ooh. Yes. There's that old saying about when we lose celebrities, we lose them in threes. So we had Jeff Beck, famous rock guitarist. And then we have Lisa Marie Presley, the daughter of a very, very, very famous pop singer, rock icon. Who will be the third? I don't know. Maybe there won't be a third. Maybe we'll be lucky. Look who else is here. Hello day, Mike. This is Valentino, the Burger King attendant. And this is Bison Bentley. Do you know that? Mike, it looks like you did a little bit of work there in the garage. Yeah, the garage. Do you know that? Yes, here at Cafe Anyway, we do have a garage that some people, we can fit up to 10 cars in there. Yes, I know, it's quite a lot. It's a very large piece of building. How can you get a building that large in Podcaster Valley? I don't know. But there it is, right there. And apparently I've been having a lot of problems with fluorescent lights. Fluorescent lights have this little thing called a ballast at the very top of their lights. And when that goes and the lights don't work anymore. So rather than replace the busted ballasts, I just grabbed like an old night, kind of like a night lamp. Man, what is it? It's a lamp. What do you call those? It's a room lamp. But it's a standing lamp. It's a tall lamp. You know what I'm trying to say. This lamp has two lights on it. So I took the lamp, I made it sideways, and I basically attached it to the ceiling where the fluorescent lights used to be. I did that because I am an interior decorator. That's my new trade now. Forget about podcasting. I can take old light fixtures and repurpose them. The thing I really should learn is how to replace a ballast with the dang fluorescent lights, but that's next on my agenda. Well, I guess that's also speaking of the end of my agenda for today. I think I've completed my agenda for today anyway, with Cafe Anyway in the podcast. The next podcast, we will have the wonderful Chely Shoehart, Floyd the Floorman, John Deere the engineer. I have to enjoy a delicious dinner that my lovely lady friend made. Oh, it's got some pasta and some kind of these kind of curly Q type pasta pieces. And it looks like it's got kale in it and sun-dried tomatoes. I think there's even walnuts in it. Wow. It smells delicious. I'm going to eat it now because it's been a busy day. And I hope that these great meals continue because my lovely lady friend, at the beginning of the year, she had a New Year's resolution that she's going to cook more. And I reap the benefits of that. So I'm thankful for that. We'll see how long that keeps going. So I'm going to be positive and say it's going to happen the rest of the year. There we go. Be positive. That's what I'm trying to say today. And I think I did a fine job of it. Yes. Oh, and if you would like to call in and chime in about anything we covered today and correct me on the multiple mistakes I made, you can call me 336MM daily. 3 + 3 = 6. MM is a Mike Matthews. Daily isn't what this podcast has been now for 2 days. But we'll see how long we can keep that going. Sometimes I get interrupted. And sometimes my ear doesn't unplug because of COVID that I had recently, When will my left ear unplug? That's the big question on the podcast that we're asking. So if you'd like to answer that, 336-MM Daily.
Call now. 336-MM Daily.
Also, this whole controversy with our president keeping documents from back when he was a vice president in multiple places, like in a garage next to his little red Corvette or something like that, and his other place that he had before he started his campaign. And then, of course, the former president and his Mar-a-Lago stuff that he kept, and all the debating you can do back and forth if you're conservative or liberal. Here's the thing, is what is the deal with any politician walking off with classified material and taking it with them to wherever they please? And that goes for Hillary, too, back in the day. So let's just focus on that, shall we? And try and get that fixed.
Mike's Daily Podcast is written and produced and performed by Mike Matthews. His podcast is super easy to find. Download or listen to his show and read his blog at mikesdailypodcast.com. Email Mike now at mikesdailypodcast@gmail.com. See you tomorrow. Bye!